Hey everybody, Weston here with the Hidden Gibbon, and today we're going to talk about the, Commander announcements, changes to the bracket system, proposed changes, some things that came off the Game Changers list. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. So first and foremost, we got some changes to how the brackets are defined, and I actually really like these changes. The Commander Advisory Committee, did, I think, a wonderful job with this because there was still some ambiguity around especially bracket 2 and bracket 3. So let's kind of break down some changes here. So first and foremost, they removed tutor restrictions. And I actually like this because they decided to just kind of move to a system where the tutors are relied upon by the Game Changers list, like Demonic Tutor and things like that will still be Game Changers, which I agree with. And the reason I agree with this is, like, as you know, I predominantly do deck techs, right? And as I'm brewing, I'll put some obscure card into the deck. I think there's one in my Smeagol deck that's a green-black card. It's like each player sacrifices a creature, and then if you did that, you get to search for a creature and put it into like your hand. That was considered a tutor, which, you know, wasn't allowed at like bracket or like bracket 1. Very limited in bracket 2, and like it just doesn't have the same power as like a crop rotation or demonic tutor, right? It was like a 4-mana spell, and so I like that change. The other changes, so bracket 1 has been kind of tweaked a little bit to be an exhibition, right? Decks to prioritize goal or theme over power. Rules around card commander legality can be flexible, so you can. They said that you can play your silver bordered cards here. You can this is like your traditionally non-legal deck, right? Your silver border cards can be here. Silly, goofy things like maybe you have a card that's not a legend that you want to be your commander. This is the bracket for you, and what you are doing is you are not trying to win. You are trying to show off your thing, and like the example, and Game Changers can be used in this deck. Because in general, you don't want any Game Changers in here, but I believe the example that was used by Gavin was that if you have a Bolas-themed deck and you want to have Bolas' Citadel in there, that's perfectly well and good because you're not taking advantage of the busted nature of Bolas' Citadel. You only have it in there because it is a Bolas-themed deck. So I get that. And, and so... they also made the bracket so it's kind of restricted by time, right? Like number of turns until like you die, essentially. And your win condition is going to be highly thematic or substandard. Your gameplay is going to be an opportunity to show off the win conditions, or not win conditions, but like the things that you made the deck around. And to play at least 9 turns before anybody wins or loses. All right. And then restricted, no Game Changers with caveat, no mass land denial, that one's still a hard no. No extra turns with caveat, and no 2-card combos with caveat. All right. Pretty much the same, just a little bit of changes, right? And then we have bracket 2. All right, so what it used to be was tied to upgraded precons. And, I've mentioned this before, like this is kind of difficult, right? Because for me, an upgraded precon is I'm really tuning up that precon to be able to compete. And in my friend group, I have to tune up precons pretty heavily to be able to play. So here's what it is now. It's no longer tied to precons. Decks to be mechanically focused with some cards chosen to maximize creativity and or entertainment. Win conditions to be incremental, telegraphed, or on the board. So a big example is I took some critique for my Achroma deck because it was basically a lot of really, really strong cards and then Achroma at the helm. And the thing is like the really strong cards were, for the most part, ramp, right? Like the Angel cards are massive. Like Abyssin costs 8, Achroma costs 8, right? And at bracket 3 or bracket 4, that deck would get waxed across the ground. So it's still telegraphed because you have things like land tax, tithe, and Oh my god, I forgot the other one that lets you ramp some planes into your hand, right? And those were strong cards. Alright, but it's still telegraphed, so I would still consider that a bracket 2 deck. It doesn't have any game changers in it either. Gameplay, to be low pressure, proactive, and considerate, letting each deck showcase its plan. To play at least 8 turns. So I like this turn thing so much because I cannot tell you how many times on spell tables somebody be like, alright, I've got this bracket 2 Narset and whatever the dragon's called deck. It's bracket 2. We're gonna play it, and then they would combo off and kill everybody by turn 3. Nope. That's not for bracket 2 anymore, friends. And that was the argument to be made, right? And that's kind of like how I saw the brackets, right? Like, I'm thinking, okay, bracket 2 is much more the long game. Bracket 3, you could have like some mid game, and then bracket 4 is like early game. And like this, I think, will also prevent VV decks from sneaking in to bracket 2, because that's also just awful. No game changers, no mass land denial, no chaining extra turns, no 2-card combos. Same thing there. Then we have 3. 3 is where I think between 2 and 3 is where most people land. Decks to be powered up with strong synergy, high card quality. They can be effective, disrupt opponents. Win conditions that can be played from hand in one turn, usually because steady accrued resources. For me, Azusa kind of fits this mold, right? I spend my first few turns ramping, and then I get out a Crater Hoof and raise 4 runners, things like that to win the game. Gameplay to feature many proactive and reactive plays. That one, Azusa doesn't fit the most because Azusa doesn't interact with opponents. Azusa just does Azusa things. And then to play at least 6 turns before winning those. I like this as well. Like, this tells us that, it's a slower game. Like, we should not be winning. I am a firm believer that we should not be winning any casual commander game before turn like 5 in bracket 3 or less. I've always been that way. Bracket 4, I honestly don't care if you win on turn 2, 3, 4. Because I see it as just like close to CEDH, but not quite CEDH. And then you can have 3 game changers, no mass land denial, no extra turns, and no 2-card combos before turn 6. Okay? Still pretty simple. Bracket 4, again, no restrictions like before. Decks can be lethal, consistent, fast, designed to take people down as fast as possible. They do not adhere to CEDH metagame, so like you're not going to have any... what's the deck now that just doesn't interact with anybody? It's something blue. Covert blue or something like that. Then we have win conditions that vary from archetype to archetype but can end a game quickly, and suddenly gameplay is to be explosive and powerful. This is why I do still play Azusa sometimes at bracket 4, because it can hang with bracket 4. I've won bracket 4 matches with it despite it being a bracket 3. And expect to go 4 turns before a win or loss. I like this. Also, shout out to Rachel Weeks for putting this graphic together. This is awesome. Thank you very much for this. Like, I'm actually really super happy with this change. Like, there are things that you can critique in Magic. I think it's always fair to issue critiques and praise both when they are deserved, and I really like this change. And then CEDH is still CEDH, right? Like, metagame, you're trying to win, you do what you need to do, you go out there and you crush. Okay. So, that's the first change that I wanted to go over, and then we will go over the rest of the changes, from game changers to proposed changes, here in a minute. See you back. All right, and we're back. And sorry, but the screen is white, so it is reflecting off my pasty Iowa skin here. But now we are to the game changers. And so they did remove some here, and there's some logic behind this. So for high mana value cards, if you're spending a ton ton of mana on something in Commander, it should be strong. It should win you the game or do something super powerful, right? And then the one that I've seen that's a little bit more controversial with folks is the legends that are just powerful as commanders. So we'll get into this, okay? So removals. One of the first ones I want to go over is I had proposed 3 cards to come off of the Game Changers list, and one of those was Jin Kataxis Core Augur. I'm like, this card costs 10. I play this card in a few decks, and every single time that I play Jin Kataxis, he gets Swords to Plowshares, Doombladed, or what. He does not make it to the end of my turn. He has no self-protection, and yeah, he has Flash, but like, you want to draw the benefit of the cards. And he dies to Doomblade, right? Like, he's not that great. I perfectly understand this card coming off. Vorinclex Voice of Hunger, I mentioned that along with Jin Kataxis, and although he's a bit more feel-bad for what he does, he is still a big Chungus that dies to Doomblade, right? Like, so if you get him into play, your opponent Doomblades him. Yeah, sure, 2 of their lands are locked down, but at least it's not their whole land set, right? You're like, they can kill him. Sway of the Stars. Wow, what? Sorry, the resolution on this is super low. Is also 10 mana. Everybody shuffles all their permanents, their graveyard, their hand, into their library, draw 7 cards. Each player's life total becomes 7. Restarts the game. Restart the game effects have been in Magic for a while. Like, I've been Karned. And then we have Expropriate, which costs 9, which every time that it gets, I've seen it get played and actually resolve, yeah, it ends in the game being won for somebody. But, like, it costs 9. So unless somebody is super ramping into these spells and getting them out on, like, turn 3 and 4, they're not going to be huge problems, right? Like, if you got to 9 mana, you deserve to, and like you're executing this game plan, you deserved it. Go for it, bro. Because if you didn't, somebody else is gonna. All right, then we got the legends that are strong in the command zone. This one is a little bit more controversial, just a little bit, and I've seen some takes on it, but like. Kinnan is whenever you tap a non-land permanent for mana, add 1 mana of any type that permanent produces. And their logic here is like taking them off the Game Changers. You can't do as broken of things with them in the 99. And for that, I actually kind of agree with Yuriko, because Commander Ninjutsu does not do anything if Yuriko is in the 99. So if you have a ninja theme deck, right? Winota, you can still do a few things with, but like it's not as scary in the 99. Kinnan, I think, can be really scary in the 99, but like you also have to get it in the 99, right? And I think that if you get Kinnan out as part of your win-con game plan and it's mid to late game, go for it, right? And he's going to go into Simic decks where ramping is good. And then Urza is the one that I think is a little odd because like every time I see this card hit the battlefield, bad things happen. Like bad things happen. People have a profoundly unfun time. So that one's interesting. And then finally, they say they have 2 that didn't fit into any categories, so they're taking them off. So Deflecting Swat. I agree with this one. Deflecting, I guess, like, I assume it was on there because it was a free spell, kind of like Fierce Guardianship, things like that, right? But Obscuring Haze wasn't on there. I think Deflecting Swat absolutely deserved to be off the Game Changers list. When I've played this card, it's not nearly as high impact as, like, other free spells, and there are much more powerful things that are not Game Changers. So, honestly, again, you guys knocked it out of the park with that one. Food Chain can be a bit more problematic. So you exile a creature you control and you add X mana of 1 color, where X is 1 plus the creature's mana value. Spend this mana to cast creature spells. This can get really nutty, really fast. But, you know, I think I agree with them, where if it's in the low power decks, like, and if people are adhering to the spirit of the brackets, it can be fine. Now, people have to adhere to the spirit of the brackets, right? And there's a reason that we have brackets. So I think it can be fine at lower levels, but I also think that this card does have more risk of abuse. Kind of like the same thing as like Urza, right? Just risk of abuse. And then the last thing that we want to get in... Oh, they talked about... They kept Consecrated Sphinx on there. I mean, that makes sense. I would take Consecrated Sphinx off. I don't ever see it. Like, even in bracket... Like, in bracket 3 and bracket 4, it's too slow. And it costs 6. You know? It's still a strong card, but I personally... like, if you're going to take... If you're going to take Urza off and Food Chain off, I think it's fine to take Consecrated Sphinx off. Coalition Victory... I think this could have come off the Game Changers. I've played quite a bit of Magic since it's been made into a Game Changer and not banned, and I have never, not once, seen it, or even seen somebody attempt it. Panoptic Mirror, I suppose it's fine until we get more data. The card's really, really slow, right? Like, yeah, it can be really strong if you get it online, but I really just don't see people play this. At one of my local game stores, there's been 4 of them that have been sitting in the case since it was taken off the ban list, and they haven't moved. And they've dropped from like $50 down to like 30 or 35 or something at the game store. And I might pick one up because like I want to do something with it with like some goofy spells, right? And then yeah, there's our new and updated Game Changers list. All right, so then we have the discussion topics, okay? So they asked a few questions to poll the audience, right? Like, let's ask the audience. First and foremost, they are asking about Thassa's Oracle and Rhystic Study, whether or not those cards should be banned. And honestly, Rhystic Study, I'd say no, because Rhystic Study doesn't do a whole lot at low levels. Like, it really doesn't. It like, I've played Rhystic Study at some low levels, and it does okay, but it's not as strong. And then Thassa's Oracle. So, like, me on a personal level, I don't, like, hate this card. I just, like, find the card extremely uninspired. And I actually brought up the fact that they asked about banning these cards in my my friend group chat. And my friend Mitch plays CEDH, and I'm like, oh, like, you know, they're thinking about banning Thassa's Oracle. And he's like, good, I finally won't have to play bad cards in my deck. Because, like, Thassa's Oracle, or Thoracle, if you will, is a staple win con in CEDH. And it is a win con in a lot of CEDH decks. And, like, even outside of CEDH, I haven't liked the card because, like, I consider it, like, baby's first combo. I think it was the card Treasure Hunt. On Arena for a while, it was like Treasure Hunt and Thassa's Oracle were just like, it's like it was at one point in time like every other deck that I ran into in Historic, and it was pretty unfun. It's just uninspired. It's not fun. That being said, I'm going to leave the opinion of Thassa's Oracle being banned or not banned up to CDH players, because I don't see that card or that combo ever outside of CEDH. I've played a lot of bracket 4, bracket 3, etc. I have not one time seen a Thoracle combo in EDH outside of CEDH. And as for Rhystic Study, I'd say keep it unbanned, right? Like, keep it a game changer. And honestly, like, if you want to talk about cards like these that can be game changers, you can throw the fish onto the game changers list as well. And then let's scroll down here. Yes, here's the other thing. So, the other suggestion, and I really like this, and I've had a little bit of time to brew on it, so it needs some nuance, is hybrid mana being legal in monocolored decks. So, an idea for this would be Risk the Redeem could be played in mono white or mono green, but Deathrite Shaman can't be played in either because there is a green mana symbol in his text box. And then, you know, you have I like the idea, I really liked the idea on initial, but then I did see some takes from people that, like, outside of like flavor, etc., and like the spirit of the format, I saw stuff about like how it could confuse new players, and I could see that. So we just have to make sure that it's clearly designed and or like clearly well thought out. And to be honest with you, we make changes to formats all the time that could be confusing to players. I am old enough to remember when damage on the stack was removed, and that was an interesting time where people had to adapt to a format. I think there will be some growing pains if they do this, with people being a little confused. But once some time passes and people have time to get used to it and adjust to it, I think it will be fine. All in all, I am pretty excited about these changes. I think they did a great job. But let me know what you think. I want to ask a few questions here. What do you think about banning Thoracle and or Rhystic Study? Let me know what you think about the cards that got brought off the Game Changers list. And then I also want to know what cards you think should go on to the Game Changers list. And then also, are there any cards that you would like to see unbanned and on the Game Changers list? For me, my degenerate belief is that Primetime can be unbanned. But as always, I am Weston with the Hidden Gibbon, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.